when we're really excited about God, things change. We start thinking in new and fresh ways. Today we're going to experience a lovely young lady who has experienced God and is filled with great excitement and joy. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Father Mike Manning. It's an honor to have you here. I hope you're going to hang around because we're going to experience something very beautiful. I don't know about you, but I'm always looking to try to find out who is God and how is he influencing my life, and how can I perhaps take whatever I've got with my life left, how can I make it more rich and alive? There's a lovely young lady here that I'm sitting with, Elizabeth. God bless you. Thank you for flying all the way down from San Jose, California.
It's a pleasure being here.
It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
What I want to do is I want to introduce you to the people that are watching. Tell us a little bit about your life and your experience of God as a young girl.
Well, I actually spent about 6 years living in Wales, United Kingdom.
Ooh, so that was a wonderful way to grow up.
It was.
Oh my! How did God enter into that relationship with as you look back on your life?
Well, I was exposed to the sisters there, the sisters at the school, and it was actually very beautiful. It was a very innocent time of my life. It was coming from the United States. I noticed a very different experience of the world. It was very simple and somewhat old-fashioned, but I mean in the sense that simple, in the sense that I would at lunchtimes volunteer in this little greenhouse with Sister Aquinas.
Oh boy.
And we would water the plants together.
Oh,
and I didn't
gosh.
realize, looking back, how profound that was, really, just to be watering the plants. And that was probably my faith at the time, being watered.
Oh, interesting.
And I didn't even know it. And I was just fascinated by her simplicity and her simple joy for life. And I wanted to be with her all the time. It was just something very simple. But I think she may have paid me some amount of money or something, and I saved up, and she had a little collection of gifts, and she gave me, or I bought a little rosary, and I went into the chapel, and I would pray. I would pray there, right? And it was a beautiful experience. It was.
I relate to what you're saying because I can look back and I can think there are people in our lives, especially when we're young, that really had big influences on us in the direction, and even my relationship with God, Sister Thomasine and Father Joe and Father Bob and all these people, and my mom and dad, their love of God. I think it's good every once in a while to stop and recollect that becomes a pattern of our life, doesn't it, of how we live our life today.
Right.
Their influence is very strong.
Absolutely.
But tell me a little bit, was there ever a struggle in your faith with really having a relationship with God, or understanding God, or giving your life to the church? Tell me a little bit about a struggle.
Absolutely. Well, I'm from the Silicon Valley. I was born in San Jose. So that sort of epitomizes the rush of the high tech and materialism, all that, woo, right there. And we lived a really busy life. My dad was a very successful businessman, and our life was, it was very good because we were blessed financially, but it was very chaotic looking back. And I think that not being able to really find peace for me, not knowing where to find it, where I'd go to church, and we'd go to church on Sundays, but I still was really wrestling with, at the time, maybe having a tangible experience with God I didn't really understand.
Sure. Could tell us a little bit about what does that mean? If sometimes prayer is very different according to each person.
Prayer now or prayer
for
at
you,
that time?
Right now. How do you pray?
Well, I definitely take time every day for prayer. I'm praying all the time. I really am crying out to God, asking Him to make me help me to be a better mother, a better wife, better person, help me in my work, focus, whatever, just kind of clinging to him throughout my day. And then in terms of real focused prayer time, I really try and do the daily readings, the daily gospel, the daily readings.
Well, in the Catholic Church, we have the daily readings.
Absolutely,
okay,
yes,
okay.
our daily readings, and I read the gospel, and lately I've just been trying to just meditate on who Christ is, and just where he was at that moment, and just kind of experience that, and then
relate that to your life,
and relate that to my life and what I'm doing. And of course, I pray for my family, and all of my intentions that I have, and I do pray the rosary. I try and get to Mass and as
Wonderful.
well.
Tell me, you mentioned a little bit of a broader part of your life, your husband and your children. How did this happen?
Oh, that was a God. I was heading to New York to be a professional actress. Absolutely, totally involved with, that was it. That was my goal. And God clearly had a different plan, because I wasn't really even thinking about marriage at all, which is so ironic, because I was the first of my friends to get married. All my friends wanted to get married. I really didn't. It was just the plan, and I knew it. I met Greg when I was just about to finish college and making the plans, and there was something, I can't really describe it, I just knew. And there was a beautiful feeling of peace. And
you have two lovely children, 6 and 4. What are their names?
We have 2 boys, Rory and Thomas.
Okay, 2 boys. Hello.
Oh, they just spin until they drop. Yeah, they're keeping us really busy, and they're
That's great.
Beautiful loves of my life. Talk about feeling everything making sense when those boys were born. Just the fruit of our love. And
we're talking about God, and we're trying to understand, as we listen to you, as how God is moving in your life, and you've explained it very well. Tell me a little bit about how you would relate your husband and your children to this understanding of God in your life. Could you see a connection between the two?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely.
What way? Well,
to be honest, I think it's really the way that we become better people,
Well, it's interesting that when you have a love in your life, you have someone who loves you unconditionally in the concrete.
Well, that's true.
And then all of a sudden, that seems to be a good relationship with God, doesn't it?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes. Well, and absolutely, and in the challenging times, it allows me to reach out and ask God to help me.
Yeah.
It keeps me really grounded, because it can be difficult.
Yeah.
It just
Elizabeth, we're going to come right back. We've got a little bit of a commercial coming back, and we're going to come back again, but stay tuned. I want to talk about some of the talent of this young lady, and let's hear some of the exciting things that you're using with your singing talent and with your acting talent. Stay tuned. Thank you very much for watching the program. Thank you also for sending in your donations to allow us to continue. It's so very vital. I'd like to come back to you after you've sent your donation by giving you a gift. It's a gift that is written by a friend of mine, Father Marty Padovani, a member of my community, Divine Word Missionaries. The title of the book is Healing Wounded Emotions. Father Marty is a counselor, and he's going to come to you as you read this book with deep insights into some of the topics that are really at the heart of the pain and struggle that you're going with. Pain and struggle with emotions. There are some topics here that I know you'll relate to. Take, for example, anger. How do we deal with anger? Anger with other people, anger with ourselves, even anger with God. Father Marty is going to open some doors and bring you the peace that you're looking for. What about forgiveness? Forgiveness of someone that's hurt us, or even forgiveness of ourselves. Then there's the other overriding problem of emotion that we experience time and time again in our world today. That's the problem of depression. How many people have I run into that are just overwhelmed with this shadow of depression in their life, and they don't know how to get out? Father Marty, with the wisdom and prayer that he gives, is going to help you in a rich way. So, as you reach out and try to help our ministry and allow us to continue, please ask for a copy of this book, Healing Wounded Emotions by Father Marty Padovani. And together, may we bring about the peace and the power of Christ. Elizabeth, you've committed yourself to God, and you've committed yourself in a beautiful way to your husband and to your children, but you've also committed yourself to a dream that you have in your heart of using a talent that you have to sing. You're a good singer. Tell us a little bit about that. How did that develop, your singing talent, and how did you get to where you are now, which is getting ready to go to World Youth Day in Spain,
yes,
where you're going to be performing,
yep,
which is, whoa, that's a big thing.
I'm
but
excited.
Tell us, how did this happen from the little garden in Wales to all of a sudden now having this talent of singing?
Well, it really did continue in the garden in Wales, because it was Sister Aquinas that really helped me to discover that I had a gift. And it was actually her that kind of set that ball in motion. And then being in Wales, you're surrounded with a very rich appreciation for the arts. So I was trained very early by the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, Royal Academy of Dance.
Hello?
Yes, yes.
You got involved in the Royal Academy.
Oh, absolutely.
Hello?
It was a part of my daily education.
Oh, how wonderful. That's top notch.
It really was. It's been a foundation forever,
Excellent.
for a lifetime.
Wow.
So in that, music, also they have a great love of music in Wales. And, there's a little audition, and I sang, and it was like, I remember the moment actually going, was that me? So it just came out. It was very natural, the singing and then everything else. So basically, long story short, is that coming back to the States when we moved back, I had this incredible foundation of training and then found my way into professional theater, musical theater,
Wonderful.
very quickly. And so that journey continued a little bit after marriage, after I was married with Greg. And, something really jumped out at me in my prayer, and all the Psalms I'd be going through. I mentioned, I'd be doing these daily reflections, and all the Psalms would I will sing to the Lord, sing joyfully,
yes,
sing.
Yes.
I mean, I felt like it was the Lord just popping out, every time I was reading these words, that my heart was also jumping for joy, saying, maybe you want me to sing for you. Maybe, I love you. I've come so far in my faith. I know I've been given gifts to give you glory. I mean, I discovered that along the way. We haven't talked about that, but I want to do this. So it really changed and shifted, and a lot of circumstances happened to show me that. But that was really where it was. And it actually really crystallized when I had my first son. When Greg and I had Rory, I would spend a lot of time feeding him with my arms, hours and hours, go by, and I would pray and I would think, and I'd look down at him and I thought, what am I doing in my life to live the dream that I think God put in my heart, to give him glory through music, and what am I doing? I'm not doing anything, so how am I going to teach him to live his dreams, discover his talents?
Elizabeth, that's pretty heavy.
It was. It came. It was big. And I talked to Greg about it, and I said, Greg, I've got to do this. I don't know how. I just feel like I just need to step and move. And so I did with the first album. I did an album called Dream, because I was so inspired by this idea of have to allow my children to discover their gifts, to discover who they are, who God created, and to have them know they need to do this and not be afraid, just to do it. So that was the whole first album. And then things moved along, and met people. And the second one, I ended up in Nashville at the Gospel Music Association, and met my producer. And the second album is called Sing Your Name. And it was really in the studio, I was looking at a picture of Jesus that was unlike one I'd ever seen. And it was a beautiful, beautiful, friendly face, this like beautiful picture. And it moved my heart so much. I just said, you know what? When my producer also, he's watching me stare and sing, praying to this beautiful picture image, he said that I think that we're onto something, that you want to sing for the Lord. You want to sing the name of the Lord. That is what this needs to be about. And it really is.
You are fullness of life to the empty heart. You're the day, you're the night, you're the morning star, and I'm not worthy of anything, but when I sing your name, your mercy comes to me, falling down like rain, changing everything with love I can't explain. It's heaven's sweet refrain when I sing your name.
The album is about giving glory to God, singing his name. Who is Jesus? Who is Jesus to me? Just the beginning of the journey, because you couldn't do one, just maybe the beginning. At least I am doing what I saw in the scriptures, sing to the Lord. I am doing it. I am inspired to do it. I want to do it. It's the joy of my life.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It really is.
So you've come, and now you've got a producer, and you've been able to open the door of going to World Youth Day in Spain, which is really a prestigious thing to do.
I can't believe it.
And you're able to talk to a lot of people.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the word. What's the biggest obstacle of being able to realize your dream? I was beautiful what you said. You're holding your son in your arms, and you're wanting to be able to convey the dream to him. And wouldn't that be great if we could all do that? Well, I have a dream of using television here, but
Right.
what obstacles have you run into? I think a lot of people are saying, oh, I've got dreams too, but I can never get to them because there are too many obstacles standing in the way. What have you found the most difficult part of responding to that dream that you've just spoken of?
I think that I tend to, doubt, kind of doubt myself, doubting, or sort of a war in the mind, because there's so many distractions. It's so difficult. It really is. I mean, they
Well,
say
with
the
a husband and two children.
Oh, well,
and, hello, I mean,
absolutely.
that's your draw, and that's your
Exactly.
base.
And knowing that really comes first.
Yes.
And then I have, my work, which is also a ministry, and then my music. It's just, Lord, how am I going to do this? I mean, how really? How? Is there a way? And right there, it's like, believe. All things are possible. I mean, just believe. Just keep moving. Keep moving. Keep, seeking. Keep praying. Keep asking. Keep doing. And it just happens. It doesn't seem like it, but to answer your question, it really is just, opening opening your mind to say, yes, you can. And you just simply need to take steps every day in which you can, and add a little to a little to a little.
Yes.
And then it becomes the dream.
It would have been easier if you would have loved me less and gave me no choice to love you and you alone. I would have been able to say that I never loved another more than you, but that's not true. Each time I loved you less, you loved me more. I couldn't be more blessed to find a Savior who's given me everything, died to give everything, who loves to be everything I could ever need.
Tell me a little bit that we talked when we were getting makeup about your experience of Pope John Paul and his word to artists, and something struck you from that. Would you tell us a little of that?
The letter to artists, it really did. You know, this idea of being a Christian or Catholic artist was a little overwhelming for me because I didn't know what that meant. I know I wanted to be one. I felt that call and I wanted to serve, but I came from the theater world. I came from, you know, New York City and everything where there are no boundaries or limits or anything, and it's a dark, can be a dark place.
Yes.
There can be light there, but dark too. And I just was wrestling with this, and I didn't really understand really what artists could do, what they could give to the world. And reading that, there was one line, because I mean, it was, you know, it's intense. It's Pope John Paul II, so it's rich. But there was one line that I memorized and remembered because, as I mentioned to you earlier, I felt like I didn't know how I was going to be real, like really me, you know, because not everything, you know, I'm a human person. I struggle. I have, you know, so I didn't know if there was some perfection that I was seeking, this perfect Catholic, and I said, I'm never going to be that. I know how human I am, and I'm just trying to grow closer and closer to the Lord and know more and about my faith and be able to communicate that joy and inspire people. So anyway, he had this line at the very end that said, even when the art reveals or exposes the darkest depths of humanity, that even that reveals the universal desire for redemption. And maybe you need to say that a couple times to it, because I had to read it over and over, but everything, it gives light to our desire for God, that there is, I don't know, it's dare to say this, but that we have to be honest with ourselves and to bring all of ourselves to God, and not all of it is light. And it's, as an artist, that was really important to me.
When you think about the parables of Jesus, they're not all sweetness and light.
Right.
Jesus tells stories that were attracting people to the kingdom of God. Like they're dastardly people in there. They're killers. They're murderers.
Absolutely.
There's people that would even shock CSI television shows. And that's the purpose, that we make sure that Jesus has come to save us all, whether we're going to church or we're not going to church, or even if we're doing something really, really wrong. That's why he came. You know? We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and pray with some of the people that have been in contact with us. But so stay tuned. Listen to this message. We're going to be right back. God bless you. It's very important that you share in this ministry by offering your prayers and also by offering your donations to allow us to continue. We need your help. And as a sign of my support of you for your support, I'd like to send you a copy of this book by a friend of mine, Father Marty Padovani, a Divine Word missionary. The title of the book is Healing Wounded Emotions. This book is going to touch such topics as, how do you deal with anger? How do you deal with forgiving others? How do you deal with forgiving self? And oh my, one of the big important topics, how do we deal with depression in our life? Father Marty is going to give you a perspective of a Christian who has been able to touch the heart of a solution and true healing. Remember, ask for the book, Healing Wounded Emotions. Thanks, Elizabeth, very much. I wanted to, something we hadn't mentioned, that along with your albums and your singing, you also do a radio show with Immaculate Heart Radio. Is that once a week? This is in the Bay Area?
Yes, in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's called the Bay Area Catholic Weekend Edition.
Okay.
building up the community, building up our Catholic community in the Bay Area.
Well, listen, the joy of the program is certainly being able to talk with you and have you share your faith so well. And thank you so much. But also, we hope that what that's done is touch you with the desire to be able to communicate with us. We need you to get in touch. We need your financial support, and so if you're willing to sacrifice, but we also need your letters. We want to know if you've got things that we could pray for. We want to know what you think of the show too. So if you get in touch with us, you can do the telephone, you can go to the email, you can do web pages. But let us know. And this, Elizabeth, this is just some of the people. Let me give you some things that we could pray for. Jess and Norma, they're refinancing their home so that they don't lose it. It's a big thing. This is in California. There's a lady in Texas, her son will be released from prison in November, and we're just hoping that he's going to have a continuing of a good record, you know, that what he's doing from Texas. From California, healing of the right side of her body, and the doctors are really struggling with that. You know, she's doing this. Shirley from Florida, praying for the doctor regarding her eyes. She's having a real problem with her eyes, and her spirits are down. Here's an email from Kathy. We don't know where she's from, but she's trying to decide whether or not she's going to risk a second relationship. It's a tough one, you know, like this. And Janice from Ohio, she's hoping that her church community will support her. Isn't that fascinating? Yeah, we all do that, especially if things have gone wrong with us, that this search out. How about let's lay our hands on this. Would you bring your hands up and let's just lay our hands. Lord, we thank you for all these people that have written in, and not only them, but we thank you for those that are at home, that are maybe even whispering prayers in their hearts right now. Lord, you're a God of healing. You're a God of hope. You're a God of life. Just as you've entered into Elizabeth's life with so much hope and light and vision, please come with that healing into these people's lives. Bless them. Allow them to know you as a God who loves them deeply. And may Jesus' love for you always make you smile.